Jeremy Jekyll's Halloween. Every year, Jeremy Jekyll had a Halloween party, and every year he bought his supplies at Hoskins' pumpkin stand. Mr. Hoskin loved tall tales. "We've got pumpkins with special powers," he said to Jeremy. "Pumpkins with special powers, huh?" Jeremy put a couple in his wagon. "Yep, and we have candy corn farmed by trolls." Mr. Hoskins' eyes twinkled. "And that old witch Hagatha said these apples are magic." Jeremy laughed and put the bag of apples in his wagon. They didn't look like magic apples to me, he thought. Before the party began, Jeremy put on his magician's costume and got ready for his guests. He strung cobwebs in the doorway, and he set pumpkins on the porch. He filled party bags with candy corn. Last, he filled a washtub with water and put the shiny red apples into the water. Then he waited for the guests to arrive. The Gardner twins, Randy and Ricky, from down the street came first. They were dressed as twin monsters. Then Franny Schmidt arrived, dressed as a witch. Next came the Russell boys, Mike, Marvin, and Mickey, dressed as ghosts. Just as the party was getting underway, Jenny Jekyll, Jeremy's baby sister, came dancing down the stairs in her ballet costume. "I can come to the party too," she said. "Mom said, I'll be your magician's assistant. Every magician needs one." "Does she have to, Mom?" Jeremy asked. "Yes, Jeremy," his mom answered. "There's no reason Jenny can't join in on the fun." The party got underway. They told spooky stories first, then they ate donuts and cider. And then it was time to bob for apples. Randy went first. He got his apple in no time. Then Ricky splashed his head around until he finally got an apple in his mouth. Franny, Mike, Marvin, and Mickey followed. "Hey, this apple is good," Mike said, taking a bite. Randy looked at the apple in his hand. He took a bite. "Yeah," he said, "yummy." Before long, everyone was munching and crunching on Mr. Hoskins' apples. "They're supposed to be magic," said Jeremy, laughing. Then something weird started to happen. Warts grew on Franny's face, and her hair frizzled out and turned black. "I'm going to cast some spells," Franny said, cackling like a witch. And with that, she hopped on her broom and zoomed out the window. Next, the Gardner twins began growling and stomping. Their eyes began to glow yellow, and hair popped out of their face and feet and arms. As Jeremy and Jenny watched in amazement, the twins snarled and stomped out the front street. The whole neighborhood shook as they walked. Suddenly, weird things started happening to the Russell boys. Their sheets became see-through, and their bodies disappeared. The three boys rose in the air. "Boo!" they howled. The three of them floated right through the walls of Jeremy's house. "What's happening?" Jenny asked her brother. "I don't know," Jeremy said, trying hard to be brave, "but we have to do something." Then Mr. Hoskins' tall tale came back to him. The apples! Mr. Hoskin had said they were magic. Was it true? "I've got it," Jeremy said. "The apples make you become whatever your costume is." "So that means," Jenny said, "we need to eat them too." Quickly, the two munched on a couple of leftover apples. "Let's see if it worked," Jeremy said. "Abracabranny, take us to Franny." Jeremy and Jenny arrived suddenly in a restaurant kitchen. They found Franny mixing up a batch of bat stew. Jeremy waved his magic wand and chanted the words, "You're a girl, not a witch. Warts be gone. Make the switch." With that, Franny's warts went away, and her hair and skin turned back to their original colors. Now Franny was just a girl in a costume again. "I have a craving for bat stew," she said, looking puzzled. The Gardner twins were pulling up trees in the park. Jeremy and Jenny found them just before they ruined a weeping willow. Jeremy waved his wand in the air and said these words, "Monsters be gone, go away, disappear. Instead, in their place, let the Gardners be here." The Gardners' skin turned back to its usual color. Hair disappeared from their arms and feet and faces. Their eyes stopped glowing, and best of all, they no longer stomped or snarled. They were just regular kids dressed up like monsters. "Hey," said Ricky, "what happened to all the trees?" The Russell boys were the hardest of all to find. They were floating around the roof of the school, but Jeremy and Jenny caught up with them. Jeremy said these words, "Turn these ghosts that I see back to the Russell Three." Poof! The three ghosts turned back into the Russell boys in ghost costumes, although their landing was a little bit bumpy. Finally, Jeremy turned his magic wand on himself and Jenny. Now everyone was back to normal. The whole gang headed back to Jeremy's house. After all, there was still candy corn to be eaten. When it was time to leave, Franny said, "This is the best Halloween party ever." "Yeah," said Mike, "and those were terrific apples." Jeremy told his friends goodbye, closed the door, and whooshed a sigh of relief. Tomorrow he and Jenny would pay a visit to Mr. Hoskyn, and this time they would have their own tall tale to tell. The end.